What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test and combo video for the darkworld Synchro profile I showed you all the other day. You seem to enjoy that profile so much and got it way above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, so you unlocked this additional content. With that being said, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe if you're not already to follow the channel and do not miss out on any more upcoming content. With all of that out of the way, after a very decent shuffle, and a good old cut, we're going to do 2 test stands going first, 2 test stands going second, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, that's pretty good. So, what do we start with? Well, ultimately we're going to be starting with that Dark Corridor. That Dark Corridor is just too damn good. Now obviously if Dark Corridor gets stopped, you cry a little bit inside, but you're not that end of the world, because technically you could, if you wanted to, actually start with a session rather than the Dark Corridor, just to give you that little bit of security. Because then what you could do here is you could actually discard a Greffa and Snow, and get out your Greffa, Dragon Overlord. Now, for future reference, always make sure you put Greffa, Dragon Overlord in left, center, or right if you are planning to play Cross Sheep. So that would be my little tip. On that, you trigger mandatory Chaining 1 of Greffa, Chaining 2 of Snow. Snow will resolve to give you a search, and I'm going to go for a... I mean, I could go for Illusion, which would be pretty darn funny to give me some board resource. But we're going to go for Genta, just because Genta is going to give us a nice bit of advantage later on. And then you can save the Dark Corridor. So we're going to activate Genta. Genta's effect is going to search out Gate of the Dark World. We're going to activate Gate of the Dark World. We're going to use this effect to banish said Genta. There we go. Discard a beige. Draw a card. Really? This will allow us to go Chaining 1 beige, Chaining 2 Genta. Blop. Blop. You can then return one of these to the hand. So let's turn this one. And then you can activate Genta again, discarding itself, and searching out a second Gate of the Dark World. Wherever it may be. There we go. Gate of the Dark World. Now you're in a position where you have to use Corridor. So we're going to activate Corridor. Corridor's effect is going to allow us to add. Now, what would we like to add here? We are going to add Snow. And the reason we're going to add Snow is Snow's effect will be able to be discarded and then trigger. And Snow is going to search us out anything we want, really. Hello, Rainbow. Have this one. I mean, you could technically take Rainbow. It's not so bad because you can regain a bit more hand resource. Shuffle that up. Activate the second gate. Use the second gate's effect. We're going to banish said Genta. Discarding the Rainbow. Drawing a card. On resolution, Chaining 1 Rainbow. This will then allow us to search out a level 5 or higher. So we're going to go for Lucent. And then you can return the beige to the hand for your Rainbow. You're then going to, now keep in mind you haven't even conducted your normal summon yet, so you're still in a pretty good position. So we're going to link these two together. These two are going to go into a Cross Sheep. Which is absolutely fine. Because then we're going to conduct our normal summon. We're going to normal summon our beige here. But we're then going to return the beige to the hand for Rainbow here. And the best thing about this is this will now trigger Cross Sheep because it allows you to special summon back Rainbow. Now, I know a lot of you are like, whoa, I've always thought it's a different way. Nope. Cross Sheep will always trigger if a monster is special summoned to its zone. It doesn't matter what is special summoned to its zone. It will just get additional effects depending on what it points to. So because it points to the fusion of Greffa, this will allow us to trigger Cross Sheep to revive from the graveyard. And the reason that's important is because we get to add back the Snow. Now the reason that's important is we get to return this to the hand, bring back our Greffa, and now we can use the ability of a session in the graveyard to discard the Snow. Now you don't have to go directly for the Snow, you can actually discard anything else, but the reason we're going to do this is because we're going to get to add back the Accession and trigger Snow's effect in order to search us out our missing piece for our Synchro line of play, and that is Cerule. But how are you getting into Cerule, I hear you scream? Well, very easily. We're going to Fiend Lock ourselves and not really care about Fiend Locking ourselves. Now, if you wanted to, you could go into an Appaloosa, but then you've not got other ways to discard unless you activate the Accession during your opponent's turn. So what you're going to do here is I personally like linking off the Grepher and the Crush Heap to go into a Muckcracker. And then you have the ability to return the rainbow to the hand for your Grepher. We can then use the effect of your Muckcracker, and we're going to attempt to revive Snow again. And off the back of this, we're going to discard Cerulean. The reason we're going to do this is we're going to be able to trigger Cerulean's effect to go to our opponent's side of the board. And this will make us discard a card, being the almighty Luciant. Lucian's effect will then trigger to special summon a fiend from the deck to either side of the field. Now I could, if I wanted to, send a Cerulean to my opponent's side of the field, but you can see I've not really got a lot of space left, so we're going to go for a Fabled Raven. Now I've got a lot of cards in my hand I don't actually mind discarding, and I can have the ability to loop a Raven back should I want to in the future. Now, to maintain a bit more hand advantage, the best thing to discard of a Raven is definitely going to be a Rainbow. Now we are fiend locked, but that doesn't mean that we are out of it completely, because the best thing about the Chaos monsters is they are all fiends. So, the targets we can go into, we've got a very nice couple of level 8s, we've also got a very nice level 10, and we still have access to rank 4 as well in the form of Daguerres. So it really depends on where you want to go and how you want to push it. Personally, I'm probably going to try and push for the level 8 Synchro, because then I can also bring back or push for a level 10 Chaos Angel. Now if I make Chaos Angel just with Darks, all my monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, which is absolutely fine as long as I can manipulate levels, which is absolutely fine because 6 and a 4, happy blooming days. Really depends on where you're trying to push. So, let's have a look to see how far we want to go. I also kind of want to get Beige to the graveyard to give me my level 4. So, if I sync these two together and go into a Chaos Angel, very, very nice. We will then use Fabled Raven's effect to discard Rainbow. And we'll also discard Beige. And the reason we're going to do this is this will then make Rainbow a 4. We'll be able to trigger Beige to summon itself back while also triggering the Rainbow effect to search a level 5 or higher. Now I'm going to search Silver for this turn. There we go, shuffle that up. Now because I've got a level 4 Raven and a level 4 Beige, I now have the option, if I wanted to overlay into a Daguerres. Or, because we're going to go for Synchro plays on this one, we're going to sync these two together and we're going to go into a Groza. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar of what Groza does, Groza has this amazing ability that during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, target an effect monster on the field, discard one monster as effect, and if you do, negate that monster's effect until the end of this turn. You can only use the effect once per turn, but if a fiend monster or monsters is sent from the hand to the graveyard except during a damage step, you get to apply one of the following effects as well. This card cannot be destroyed by battle, don't need to worry about that one, or this card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, nice, or your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Now I doubt they're going to try and target it, so probably going to want to be destroyed, can't be destroyed by card effect, and the best thing about that is during your opponent's turn, let's just say we play this out for example, we've got the ability of Grepher to be a negate, and that will let us rip 2 from our opponent's hand by discarding the silver. I've got Chaos Angel, which is protecting all of these by battle. I've then got the ability of Groza as well. And if they were to Dark World on my board, again, not the end of the world. Activate a session, banish the Grepher from the board. Just double check there's not a Grepher in the graveyard. Nope. And then we discard the Rainbow. Now the reason this is quite important is that Rainbow will then allow us to trigger and search out. Now this can very easily go and search us out wherever it may be. I think I've gone past it twice, there we go. Can search us out a Grepher. Now, this is obviously an example, because obviously if we've been Dark Ruled, it's not that great. But we still have a Grepher that is still active and live, which can still become a loop 2 from our opponent's hand, or discard and pop 1 card, look at a random card on our opponent's hand, and deal with it. So that's your option there. If they didn't Dark Ruler us, then we've also, or they just wanted to imperm Grepher, okay, sure. Chaos Angel's still a boss monster to deal with. Not to mention they can't actually imperm us because I've given their Surrey, pretty funny. But basically what I'm trying to show you is, by discarding the Rainbow and searching out a Grepher, it means that when your Groza's effect triggers, your Groza's effect now only becomes a negate, but it also becomes a pop as well. Not to mention, as these are all fiends, buffed to 35, 38, 35, 31, 13. You still got the follow-up for the next turn, you still got Corridor that you can then use the next turn as well, and you're in a very, very good position. So that's it for test down number 1. That one kind of showed you, like, it doesn't mind, like in this version, because you're not worrying about loads of different types of links, you don't actually mind fiend locking yourself. So absolutely fine on that one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shuffle up. And we're now going to go first again, just so you can kind of get a fresh for both of them, rather than just one test and one and done. So shuffling up, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I mean, Dark Corridor is absolute godly here. Keep in mind that if Snow is discarded via your opponent's card effect, you add a Dark World card, but you also target a monster in your opponent's graveyard. If they ain't got a monster in your opponent's graveyard, you are targeting naught. So we're going to set the Dark Corridor. I don't want to use it right now. I'm actually going to rely on the Nessie on this one. So 1 to 4, 5, 6 will be a reroll. That was a terrible roll. Even hitting Snow's good though. Hit a 1, which is even better. Zephyros, Nessie, draw. Mothman. Okay. Zephyros effect, return Nessie to the hand. Summon Zephyros back. Take a bit of LP damage. Not the end of the world. I can now activate Nessie again if I want to. So we're going to go 1 to 4. 5. 2. Snow. Absolutely fine. Nessie, summon, draw, Snow effect, search, broken. So now what you want to do is you want to get your second piece of your missing puzzle, which is either Lucian or you go for your direct for your Ceruli. We're then going to activate Genta. Genta will search you out gate. I'm now going to move these test stands forward a little bit faster. Just especially with plays like this, you should expect what's coming. So we're going to activate gate. Gate is going to banish Genta. We're going to discard the Snow to give us even more advantage. So shuffle up, discard Snow, draw a card, chaining 1, chaining 2, Genta comes back to the board, Snow's effect, search ourselves out a amazing piece. So let's go for a session. There we go. Now the one thing we are missing is a big boss monster in the graveyard to return the Genta to the hand, but that's not the end of the world either. So what we'll do here is we'll activate the Dark Corridor. Dark Corridor will allow us to add a Dark World. So we're going to add, wherever it may be, where are you? Ceruli. Ceruli's effect, or we'll resolve Dark World by discarding Ceruli. Ceruli goes to our opponent's board. This will then make us discard Lucian. Lucian will then trigger, summon itself here, while also summoning a Fabled Raven. This really depends if you're trying to push for anything specific. Or maybe, there we go, Fabled Raven. Now because we've got the Nessie on the board, we're actually in a very good position to discard more cards should we want to, and get an additional draw, which is quite nice. It's also entirely up to you how you want to play this one out, but I'm personally going to dig for more cards. So I'm going to overlay these two and go into a Daguerre's. Daguerre's effect is going to detach 2, allow me to draw 2 and discard 1. Lucian and a Jackalope, that is interesting. I don't really want to discard the Jackalope, so I'm going to discard Mothman. Mothman is going to allow both players to draw 1 and discard 1. Snow, sure. Discard the Snow, trigger Snow's effect, search. What are we missing? We're missing a big boss monster to loop stuff back from the graveyard. Very easily done. Why is that so important? Well, activate Fabled Raven, discard this, make Fabled Raven a level 3. Trigger Rainbow's effect. Rainbow will now get us a Greffa. Synchro these two into a level 10, which will be our Baron, because we are not Fiend locked. We will then be able to return Lucian to the hand for Rainbow. We can then use Rainbow and our Daguerre's to go into Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk will return the Ceruli it points to back to our hand. And then we do this all over again. I'm going to activate a session. A session will discard Ceruli and Greffa. This will then allow us to summon out Greffa, Dragon Overlord. Trigger Ceruli's effect in the graveyard, going back to our opponent's board. So now they still can't Imperm us or Evenly us or Lightning Storm us. Ceruli's effect will trigger, make us discard the Luciant. Lucian's effect will now trigger, allow us to spawn a Fiend from the deck. So you now get your second copy of Raven out of the deck. There we go. Now you don't even need to use Raven's effect if you don't want to. Like, I mean, ultimately I could discard 2 cards and we'll be in a good position. But you still have the ability to loop back as well. So let's go, okay, cool. Let's add back Lucian to the hand for Rainbow. Rainbow back to the hand for Greffa. And just double check we've got everything else there. Yep, cool. So now if I want to, I can go for a Synchro level 10, which of course is going to be Chaos Angel. Still haven't even conducted a normal summon, which is absolutely fine. So let's go for Synchro Greffa with Fabled Raven, go into Chaos Angel. If I wanted to, I could very easily bump the level of Fabled Raven by discarding Rainbow. But ultimately, I don't need to. I can pop the Ceruli if I want to clear it off my opponent's board. But again, it's actually doing me more favours being on that board because even these are Lightning Storms and Imperms. So the only thing that's really missing is an upgrade to a Cassic, which I can do very easily by setting the card destruction. I can even activate the card destruction, and that will guarantee me 2 summons, if not 3. So we'll activate the Jackalope. We'll go 1 to 4. 6 for reroll. 2. Hit the Jackalope. Absolutely fine. Jackalope effect. Summon to the board. Let's go for what we've got left. Mothman. Yeah, Mothman. Do I want to link higher? I mean, I could do, if I really want to get into an Appaloosa, which I don't think I need to with a board like this, I could link higher. I could go into a Muckracker, I could use Muckracker's effect, I could extend that a little bit further and go and go and go. I can activate card destruction, discard all 3 of these, but then the ultimate, like the end of it is, I'm only going to get 1 Lucian. Like, I would then waste the other one out to get a search, which isn't that great. So, we've also got to remember, we still have a session in the graveyard. So we're going to use the Sessions effect. We're going to discard a card, which will be Lucian, which will float back to the board very nicely. And then we're going to link all of these together. I suppose what I should do is return Lucian to the hand first. Have I got a Rainbow, or have I just got a Greffer? Just got a Greffer. So we'll bring back the Greffer. I'm going to use Greffer, Mothman, and Cassic. This will then let us get into a 3 negate Appaloosa. Boom. Set a session. Keep the card destruction set. Pass to our opponent. Now, obviously, what our opponent needs to deal with is it needs to deal with all my monsters cannot, or my dark monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Nice and nice. All my theme monsters are buffed. Nice and nice. All my synchro monsters are unaffected by my opponent's activated effects. Nice and nice. So, it's in a very, all monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So, all of these are protected. Not easy to run over an Appaloosa. They could, if they wanted to, go Ceruli, crash into one of these and then try and activate an evenly. But then if they try to activate an evenly, I've got a negate off of Overlord, I've got a negate off of Baron. If they wanted to activate a Dark Rule no more, sure. I can then activate a Session. A Session can then turn the Greffer in the graveyard and probably another one if I wanted to. Banish a Greffer and another one. Heck, I could banish the Genta. Genta would then summon back to the board. And then I still have the negate up. So if I wanted to go like Dark Ruler, Crash, and then evenly, I still have ways to deal with it. And the best thing about that is they've used up their battle phase to then try and evenly me, and I'm still able to negate. It's like, there's nothing they can do. Rainbow can obviously extend me my plays, and I've got a card destruction to reset everything again the next turn. It's just absolutely insane what this deck can do when it gets kicking. Now, obviously, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this is just a synchro version, da 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 da. Yes, I know. The idea behind this deck is not that it is the best version of the deck. It's just a version of the deck that not a lot of people are experimenting with, not a lot of people are familiar with. It still has the same weaknesses as the other deck, but it gives you that option to open up the door to more synchro plays, which I think is really, really nice, especially when we're going into like a synchro-esque format with Manadiums, Synchrons, you name it. It's still really, really fun. So, we'll shuffle this up. We're going to do a test and go in second now, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not the best board breaking board at all. And yes, one form of interruption would suck. Because literally just normal Sun Fabled Raven. Effect, negate. Okay, GG, I'll pass. It happens sometimes. That is the RNG factor. Ultimately, if they can't stop the Fabled Raven, happy days. Like, we still have 5 cards in hand. Some people might not take that as bait. They might be like, that's bait, I'm not touching that. So you activate the Raven, we're going to discard cards. Now, ultimately, you could discard all 3 if you wanted to, but you probably want to hold one of these back. Actually, no, you know what? Who cares? Discard 3. We're going to put a Raven up to a level 5, and then we'll start triggering effects. So mandatory Chainlink 1 will be Greffer, Chainlink 2 Snow, Chainlink 3 Rainbow. Rainbow will search us out a Silver, because you want a level 5 specifically for this, as this is now a level 5 tuner. Snow will then search us out a card. Now, you don't want to go for Gento because you got no way to discard it. What you can go for is a Ceruli. Now, I could go for a Lucian if I wanted to. Lucian would actually get me... Actually, yeah, let's go for a Lucian instead of a Silver. I'll actually get a bit more advantage for that. There we go. And then Greffer would attempt to pop a card. We're then going to activate Gate of the Dark World. Again, they can probably very easily take that out. There's no worries about that. Activate Gate, we're going to banish the Snow. We're going to discard the Ceruli. We're going to draw a fresh card. Ceruli's effect is going to trigger. This is going to go to our opponent's side of the board. This will then make us trigger by discarding a card, which will be Lucian. Lucian will then summon itself back to the board. Lucian's effect will then trigger in order to special summon out a fiend from the deck. Now again, really is up to you on what you want to go for. I'm going to go for silver just because this is going to give me the ability to synchro and protect my board from this point on. You can very easily go into a Barone if you want to. I'm not going to go into a Barone. I'm going to go into Chaos Angel, because in Chaos Angel will allow me to banish one card on my opponent's field. And then this is going to allow me to go that little bit further, because we're then going to be able to go, okay, cool, return Lucian to the hand with Rainbow, return Rainbow to the hand with Greffa. Activate the second Gate of the Dark World. Gate of the Dark World's effect, we're going to attempt to discard, we'll banish in the Raven, and we're going to discard, I mean, Greffa is mandatory to pop a card, so we're trying to clear out some space here. So you're probably going to want to go, I mean, Lucian will give you a monster on the board, which is great, but we'll go with that. We'll randomise the draw. Okay, we'll take that. Mandatory effect, we'll pop the Cerulean. Obviously, if they've got a more threatening card on the board, you pop that. No questions asked. A session. So what you wanted to kind of draw, before people are like, oh, you drew your one off, that's what on-bricks the hand. You wanted to draw any card that would enable you to discard. So that would ultimately end up being a Dark Corridor, which you play 2 of. Any of your dangers, which you play like 7 of. Card Destruction. Even Archives would get you this as well. So it's not all about what you get. We're going to activate the Accession. Accession will then banish the Greffa from the graveyard while discarding Lucian. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that one. Gets a Greffa Dragon Overlord. Lucian's effect will then come back to the board. We're just going to keep this very, very simple. We can then activate Accession's effect if I want to discard the Rainbow to give me a search. I mean, either way, if I'd done the Rainbow first. Yeah, let's do it this way. Discard this, add this, get a nice little search. Go for a level 5. Actually, I think I've only got a level 6 left. Yeah, just Lucian left. Absolutely fine. We can then add Lucian back to the hand for a Rainbow. And then this is like ultimately game. 35, 38, 3k, 3-3. Like, pop 3 cards, or technically pop 2, banish 1, gave them 1, and then push through from there. But yes, I can completely understand the argument of, well, if they stop the Fabled Raven, game over. Yeah, very true. Very, very true. But then what you need to take in consideration is, like, this is obviously going to be game 1. So now I get to go into game 2 and 3 with my side deck in check. And if I'm going into game 2, you can bet your bottom dollar, or if I'm going into game 3 and I know I'm going second, bet your bottom dollar is going to be a Dark Ruler No More in there. So, any of your hand is a route to a Dark Ruler No More, you go Dark Ruler No More, turn off their entire board, and you just do exactly what I just did. You just don't finish the game off. And yet they still need to deal with a Chaos Angel protecting all your stuff by battle and activate effects, and then also being able to deal with a Greffa Fusion. Or possibly the ability to get to 2. So shuffle up, final test hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we can work with that. It's actually a pretty good hand. So again, we've got a couple of cards that will bait out a lot from our opponent, which is really, really nice. So let's start off with, I mean, let's just control the board state from early doors. Catalyzer, summon, discard Cerulean. Cerulean goes to my opponent's side of the board, discards a Lucian, Lucian's effect summons, and gets me a card to the board. Now the reason we're going to do that so early is it's basically just going to allow me to control what I want to control. So, and what I mean by that is, if I'd activated the Nessie and discarded a card I didn't want to discard, or if anything else happened, then it would really, really have sucked. So, now I've got a very easy way of linking these two together. Go into a Katic, and we'll do this all over again. Katic returns Cerulean to the hand. Fabled Raven's effect, discard Diabolica and Cerulean. Make this a level 4. Trigger Cerulean's effect. Goes to my opponent's side of the board. Cerulean's effect, discard Lucian. Lucian summons itself back, and so will Diabolica. And then Lucian's effect will also summon me a Fiend from the deck. So it's entirely up to you on what you'd want to go for. I don't really need to go for another Raven, so I do need to get into a big boss monster to start looping stuff back to the hand, which would be very, very nice. So, suppose we're going for something like a Greffa or a Rainbow. Let's go Rainbow, just so I can get a bit of search advantage going. Again, I have the ability, should I want to sync into a Chaos Angel directly or a Barone. Doesn't make much of a difference. We'll go Lucian and Fabled Raven. I mean, it's a little bit tricky now, that's a 4, but it's not the end of the world. Let's go for those two. Let's go into a Chaos Angel. Now what we've got, so we've got rank 8 capabilities if we want to do that. We've got link 4 capabilities if we want to do that. I've got the ability of activating Nessie, and the reason you do this is just to get a free body on the board. So you could go Nessie, go into a Chupacabra, bring back the Nessie. Or you can go to a Mothman for a draw and discard. It depends if you wanted to get another level to the board. So if you wanted to take the Chaos Angel back a little bit, and your board's currently sitting like this, you can reveal Nessie. Nessie's obviously going to get discarded. Nessie will then search out a Jackalope, wherever it may be. Reveal the Jackalope. Jackalope goes. Jackalope summons Chupacabra. So now I've got a 4 in the Raven and a 4 in the Chupacabra. And there is reason behind this, do not worry. So you can sync these two together. And we're going to go into our Chaos Archfiend. Now yes, we want to banish a card on the board. Don't worry, we're going to get there. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to go these two, Rainbow and Akashic, into a Muckraker. There we go. Rainbow, return the Luciant to the hand. Muckraker's effect, discard the Luciant. Target a fiend in the graveyard being Fabled Raven. Luciant's effect comes back as well. So now your board is currently set up like this. Now, not that I needed a tuner, but we are going to go for a tuner. So we're going to sync these two together. Going to go into Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is going to banish a card. Boom. So, what do we now have? If any cards or cards has been banished this turn, this card gains 2,000 attack. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each and banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. If this card is in its owner's control, leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you get to special summon a Chaos Synchro monster from your extra deck except itself. So, I believe it will still buff because it counts the entire turn. As long as it's been banished this turn, it will gain 2k. So straight away, this is 45. Clear, 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 clear. 35, 3k, 24, 1,000. Like, guaranteed game. Very, very powerful. Very, very cool. Really, really enjoyable. And that's kind of what you want to aim for. Like, going second, your ideal go-to will be your Chaos Archfiend. As long as you can guarantee a banish at one point or another. Really, really powerful card in this deck, and I really enjoy it. And the fact that it's Fiend is what makes it so much better, because then even if you do Fiend lock yourself, it's not the end of the world. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has given you a couple of ideas of how this deck can operate, how it can work, and the best way to kind of execute the plan that is Dark World Synchros. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.